Guys, I'm Oteneko Oluwatobi. I'm Silver Codes from Slack. Zuri Mentor. I also made the previous video on HTML tags and fonts. But due to the network lag and issues that we had, so I decided I would be making another recorded video so that you people will have a full understanding of what was being captured or what I was trying to capture in the last class. So in the previous agenda that we had, just still the same agenda, which is introduction to HTML tables and the tags, introductions to HTML form tags, implementation of HTML table tags, implementation of HTML form tags, implementation of HTML forms using tables, basic HTML form validation. Yes. So like I said, what I would be doing majorly, I would actually love to take you guys through the practical aspect and take a little bit of theoretical aspect because I actually believe with practical people tend to understand and being so theoretical. So most of what I'll be taking in this class is going to be practical. So let's just jump into the class. So first, introduction to HTML tables. Then we have HTML tables allow web developers to arrange data in rows and column. Everybody aspiring to be a web developer, majorly front-end developer, you should know this as a basic of your HTML, like how to create tables, because at different intervals, probably be needing it. You would surely be needing it to create maybe one website or something. So for HTML tables, the example of HTML, a clear example of an HTML table is even this picture that I have over here. This table is an HTML table. And why did I say it's an HTML table? You have your role and you also have your columns in it. So it's been segmented, and one thing you should actually know in HTML tables are one, you have the HTML table element and we have the table. A table actually usually consists of just one table tag and one or more tr, th, or td. Then let me just put that for tables. Then you have your t-head. Your t-head usually t-head, let's just take t-head like your header. Because now on the website you have your header, you have your body, and you have your footer. So take t-head as your header. When you navigate to other pages, your header still remains the same. So the function of t-head is actually to say, okay, I want, even though I'm going to have pagination on my table, I want to be able to say I want one same header for every other page. For example, if I say this is an HTML element, this is function of the HTML, and I make this my t-head, I grab it under a t-head. Note, a t-head can actually have one or more tr, th, or td. You can't have two t-heads. It's not, you shouldn't have two t-heads in a table. You should have just one t-head, but you can have multiple tr, td, or th. So it being a t-head, so if I should say I navigate to, I have other pages like page nation here, if I should navigate to another page, I should actually be able to see the same header there. Then body, take your body as the inner page. So let me put body as your inner page. So it is in conjunction with the t-head and footer. It helps to specify the part of the table. So it helps you say, okay, this is my content, this is the header, just the way you have your on your on your normal HTML form. You have your head, you have your body, then you have your footer. Everything in your body, they are all visualized, can actually see everything. But now the body is only, your body cannot, the body will only show what you're actually visualizing. That means if you navigate to that page, the body will not be the same. But the T head will be the same if you're actually using that same table element. T body 2 is always one in a table tag. But the TH, TR, and TD can be all different. You can actually have multiple of that. Then let me go to the TH. Then TH tag defines the header cell in the HTML table. Just what you have. Create a heading for each column. That's TH. For example, this is a TH. A TH is usually bold and centralized. That's one thing you should actually know in it for a TH in a table. One first thing you should actually be able to use to identify a TH in a table is one, it is usually bold, and also it is actually always central. Everything is always centralized. The only way a TH cannot be central, maybe you can actually turn a TD and style it and make it centralized, but TH automatically has the central body, which is actually bold and central. Okay, guys, there's a difference between a TH and TD. So let's do it this way. Let's take it this way. A TH is usually bold and also centralized, while a TD is usually left aligned and light. But you can actually use both. You can actually use any of them, but it depends on what you want to use it for. So, for example, if you need to put something as an heading, as the name actually implies, create a heading for each column. That's the function of TH from even the title already. Then you should know that TD is actually for data. So let's talk about maybe from the hierarchy. Let's talk from the hierarchy part of it. You have table, which is usually just one. Table appears just once in a table data. Sorry, in a table. Like when you're creating a table. This table element is called just once. The T head is also called once. You can have multiple TH or multiple TR, multiple TD in a T head. T body, just as I've previously explained out what T body is. You can also have multiple TH, TR, or TD, but you can just only have one T body in a table element. Then T foot, same. You can only have one T foot in a table element. That's the ideal. That is ideal. That is the ideal way you can actually have it, and the best way you should have it. You should not have multiple T head, multiple T body, multiple T foot. As I previously explained, what T head is for. T head actually it's majorly for probably when you have paginations and you want to like navigate to other pages and you still want to use one constant head on it. Same as foot. Just take T foot as footer. Then in the video, I would explain what this call span 2 and row span 2, row span 3 is. Actually, scroll span, this one is just like the value that it's the two there. It can be anything. Row span 2 can be 3, can be anything, can be 5, can be anything, depending on the columns you're actually creating. So from the title here, it says allows the cell to span across 2 columns or more. Then allows the cell to span across 2 rows or more. But if it's 3, that is spanning across 3 rows. So let's just shortly go into coding, because I said I'm trying to make the class a more practical class than theoretical aspects, than the theoretical part of it. So let's take this. You have this. Let me cancel this. Sorry. Just remove from this to here. So, like I previously said in my class before the network was actually failing, so I said I would advise everyone that is a beginner to actually use to use VS Code as the best extension, because one, in VS Code you can press your shift, hold shift down, then press 1. It will actually bring out this suggestion for you. Just what you do is pressing enter. Enter would actually bring out this HTML skeleton that you need for you to be able to code. This is the basic thing and the most important thing that you need to write in an HTML code. It's important. You need it. Not as if your code will still work. Because if I know I see cancel all this and I do P and I write a day or whatsoever and I write anything there, then I see preview live server, it will still show to show me something, to still bring out something for me. But this is not actually the best practice. Best practice is when you have everything here. When you have everything here, like your doc type, because all this from my previous class, they told the meaning of all this and also the function of all this. So let's go to our today's class. Let's begin the normal coding and the practical aspect. So as I said, you have from the hierarchy, the first thing you should need to do is to see is a table. Then note, this is what we'll be building at the end of this class. This is what we'll be building at the end of this class. We'll be building this. I did not big mention of this, but I'll tell you what it is. This is actually Caption. It's called Caption. And the purpose of Caption is just like, it's like P, but now it's just for the header. This is best practice when you're actually writing a table code. Use Caption instead of your P tag. P tag also works. You can actually use H, you can use whatever tag you want to use for that is like title of your table. So let's go into this. So my caption, since that's exactly what we want to build, my caption is, I'll write caption. Like I previously said, VS Code is actually one of the best extensions you should actually use as a beginner, because it also has the option of it auto predicting Like when you try to press something, it actually predicts it for you on what you want need. So if I press my caption, let me put it as table. Okay, I put HTML table there. HTML table. This is what I want to build. Yeah, you would notice the changes in it. Let me refresh this. HTML table, this is it. Okay. Oh, what's up on? Oh, permit me to reopen that. Okay, let's just leave that alone. Okay, so we have the HTML table. Then, okay, this is what we are trying to build, like I said. So let's just continue with our code. So we have the caption already. Then what's the next thing we have to have? So I said we can actually have these tier are not important now. There are things that you just need to know. The tier, you will not see any function of the tier now till when you actually do something like pagination and also the T body and the T foot. But let me just write it for you to actually see how it is actually being previewed. Seeing this, you will not see anything. You've not written anything. Even write something on my tier is not actually okay. But let me continue. So after your TA, the next hierarchy tag that is always on the table is TR, which is called table row. Table row. That is actually creating the row for you. Then on table row, I can actually now have I can now have your TH, sorry, after that is your TH. It can either be TD or TH. But because of I'm actually looking for it to be my heading, as TH actually means table heading. It's actually like the heading of the cell. So I have this TH, then I can actually put person one. If I save this and I preview, I have this. But because I don't, because this you only see this now. So let me write another, the next one. You won't see any difference though. So let me copy this and I put here, then I change this to I use control C to copy, then control C to copy, then control V to paste. If I should come here again and I refresh, I'm having person two. It's still the same thing. You can't see any difference yet. Then if I still like that, see if you're using P, but it's on a straight line, but you won't notice anything yet. But I'll show you when you notice something. But let me add another one, three column that I want to actually use. So I have my person three. Okay, I'll change this to person three. Then I have this. Okay, I have my person three. But now you actually see it's still on same line. But now I want to look at this. You should on when you're doing tables like this, for you to actually get a proper alignment, for you to actually know that okay, yes, the table is well structured. I want us to actually do something because now this is one table, this is another one. But you looking at it now, you won't notice anything. So I would like to add a CSS property. But previously we talked about our external styling, but I want us to go through internal styling now. And what I just want to add is border, just for it to specify. That's why you're able to see the shape. But now we are styling a table. Major things you need to style is you can either style your TH, your TD or your table. Those are the three major things you need to style. Aside you have your CSS property and you want to give individual styles on them. But styling all these, so if you're doing an internal styling, you just call your style. Yeah. Like I said, VS Code is actually very good. It's act the prediction of everything you need. I just type in myself and I press enter, it gives me the tag, it gives me the opening and closing tag of what I need. Then I can actually call my table. When if you want to style table, if you are not styling something as a class, that's if you are telling something like a tag like this, you just call it. It's when you're actually using class that you use a dot before it, like something like this. Dot. Sorry, dot. Oh, okay. Dot, yeah. But if you're styling a tag, you don't need the dots in them. Tags are like tags like body, H1, H2, you can actually call them like that. So if I call this, then I can actually add border. Yes, it's normal that you don't know the function of border now. Border actually is to actually give your box a line, a rectangular or square line, whichever way it is, but it's actually giving it a full four-shaped line. You actually see it now. So let me start my table first. Then let me give it a 1 pixel. That is like 1 pixel. I just want that a tiny line. Then I want it to be solid. You can actually use light or whatsoever, but when you get to CSS, you're able to understand what this border is. But for now, I understand you probably will not get it, but you should actually know it. So let me just use black. I'm not going to use XL decimal. I'm going to use normal color so that you're able to understand. I don't want to confuse you yet. So you have this border 1 pixel, solid black. Then going back to my code, I would have this. Yes. So it's now telling me all these things are now in a table. It's telling me these are my table elements. You can see my caption. My caption is not being captured because my table is actually starting from, even though my caption is inside the table, it's not going to capture it because my table is telling me that what I need to style, that I need to give that border is starting from the T head, but majorly starting the TR like that's actually holding the TR, all this. So these are the major things for the table. You need table where if needs be, but it's actually capturing it. This caption is not needed. It's trying to tell me that this is my header, but it's going to take it outside. So it's almost something like bringing this and putting it here. It's still going to give the same code error, but it's not actually going to be in the table. You see it, it's still the same thing, but it's coming here. But it's not going to, it's not, the difference is that it's not coming in with the table. So because you want it to actually be aligned with the table, that's why it's actually inside the table, to show that it's like inside the table. But it's not going to give you that shape. It's not going to, the border is not going to capture, it's not going to cover it too. So let's continue. Then I want to also include my TH. I want this one to be a box on its own. This one to be a box on its own. This one to be a box on its own. Yeah, it's a box, but I can't see it. And the only way I can actually see it is by adding the border to it so that I'll know, okay, this is a box and this is a box. You don't style your TR. If I even style my TR now, you won't see anything. And yes, now, if actually in CSS, let me just take a little in CSS. In CSS, the way you style it CSS, you use comma to join classes together, to join like what you need to style it together. So I put comma here and I put th. If I check my code, I would actually see a difference. Yeah. I'm using same border element now because of the comma. It's telling me that my table and my T head, that's TH, I want to give them the same style. So you can see now I've gotten this. This one border, one border, one border. They're in separate box. So if I start my TR, if I had my TR to it, I won't notice any change. There's nothing wrong with it. There'll not be any difference in it because I can't style that. So this is it. So you need to know what you can style also. I decided I want to give my TR something else, but it's not ideal for you to style a TR because you won't see any change. So this being done, I actually saw that, okay, in this previous one that I did, you can see it's taking a full width. But the best way I can actually do this is actually by adding a width to it. Then how can I add a width to it? Where should I add a width? If you notice, what is taking the width is the table. But because I don't want this, one way you can actually do this, if you're using style, is to say table, then come here, then call it width of 100%. This is one way. Looking at this, coming here, that's giving me the width of 100%. Then another way of doing this is styling it inside. Like you have been thought about this, like commenting that you don't want it, but I'm going to just cancel this and remove it. So the way I want us to do it is, you can come here, call your width. Note, there are a few things you can call like this, not everything. It's not everything you can call out like this. You can't call things like display flex like this, aside you're actually using some CSS library and not all that. But which is actually something you can actually use in your HTML. HTML understands the property of width, like it understands width as an attribute. So I can actually say 100. Okay, let me first of all refresh before. Let me first of all say before this, so that you know that that constant that I removed, that I did, has removed that my width. So let me now go back to my code and include a width of 100%. Then I save this. If I save this, oh sorry, if I save this, then I go back to my code, I would have the full width, just like the other option. So that is like option 1 or option 2. You can actually do a CSS for it, or you can call it inside. So let me continue. The next thing I have to actually do is my next column. And I saw that I used my th for here. Then I'm calling this like my table head. I'm saying this is my table footer. So let me now create my table body. So after I have my table head, I can actually do this and say T body. Like I said, you don't need this most times. You don't need the T head. Aside, you know that you want to do a presentation and you want it to be dynamic. That's when you can actually say, okay, yes, I need to segment it. I need to like put my table head when I want to be dynamic. That if I paginate, it's still table head is still going to retain the same table head. If I put what is it called footer, the table footer is still going to be same thing everywhere. So my T-body, like I said, what I'm going to start with after T-body is the next hierarchy, normal. TR always comes before TH or TD. So let's see the difference between TH and TD. So we use TH here, but yeah, I'll be using TD. So if I use TD and I say my person one, what did I give the name? Well, you can use any name. So I use silver coats to be and the other. So I can say silver coats, then I save it. If I go back to my code, I would actually see a new one, silver codes. But you can actually see this is actually saying, okay, it's still in the table. This is a TD is actually left aligned. But because I've not added my TD to this, so it's not getting the border. And the only way I can add border to this is to my TD is actually coming back to my code and call it the TD here. I can just remove that. I don't need the TR. I can just replace it with TD. So if I go back to my code and I check it, I would actually see, yeah, I now have a border on it. But you can notice it's actually taking just one of this box and this box is not in there. Why? Because my TD is actually going to take just one box. Like it is being into different columns. So you have this already as your TD, and the difference is that of your TH and your TD, your TH is central aligned, while your TD is usually left aligned, and also it is lighter while this one is bold. So coming back here, and I say, I call this TD again, and I do this TD, then I call Sobi. I do this, I call Shay. Then I even do this. This is what to come out of it if I after doing that. Now is like what I want. But let me add one more this thing and let's see how it will look like. If I should add one more column, let's see what will happen to it. Then I say this as Ashley. Oh, I think I didn't spell Ashley well. Ashley. Oh, let me just leave it this way. Sorry. Ashley. Okay. So if I check this, see what happened. There's nothing here. So it's actually taking each as a column like this, like this. It's taking one box, one box, one box. But because this one is actually three elements, so it's not doing anything. So it's telling me that, okay, this one is having one box, one box, one box, like just three elements here. Like three tags have been called there, while here you have four of them. So it should tell you that each TH or TD matters. So because I don't need that, let me just remove this. If I have multiple columns, I can keep adding, but I can just keep adding. If I'm adding here, it's okay. I also add here for uniformity. So as I've done this, let me save and preview what I have. So I have this, which is actually to correct what I want. I've done the first line. Then looking at my second line, there's something I noticed there. This one is actually taking a length to this place, while this is taking just one space. That means this is actually taking two columns. But how can I get two columns? How can I design two columns? But this is taking two columns. So what I can actually do for this is come to my code. It's still on my T body. Like I said, this is actually a row. So adding other TGs is actually going to make it go straight, go straight. But I don't want that. I want a new row. So I'll just call my TR again. TR is to create new row. I want it to go under a new row. I can, if I do this, let me show you what happens when I do this. Let's practicalize something. I call it TR here. Then here, I call it TD. Then I say, this is, then I say, this is Kemi. Then I say, let's see what happens. What happened to it? It came down. Table row remains table row, no matter what. So that's just it. But this is not best practice. You calling a TR inside a TR is not good. It's okay when you call a TR outside a TR aside. You want to give it a class or style differently. So if you want to do this, is don't always call it TR inside a TR. Always call TR separately. So as you have this, you see that it's even looking the same, but that's not what you need. And it's actually very wrong. So having your TR this way, so what I need to call again is my TD. Sorry, TD. Calling my TD. Let me give this the Kemi, okay? Let me give it Kemi. Then if I notice I only have two TDs here that I added. So let me add on that TD. I call this Frank. If I go back to check what I have, I would see that I have two. But now I want this one, this Kemi to take two columns. But what will I do? That brings us to this. Oh, sorry. That brings us to this course part 2. It's telling me I'm taking two column part of what you're actually giving me. So if I should add the code span 2, let's see what happens after adding the code span 2. Code span, VS Code is absolutely very nice. It understands every HTML tag you need, so you don't need to stress yourself too much to say you need to go and start learning or putting this. I myself, I'm not putting all this on my head, but I know them, but I don't need to actually say how do they spell code span 2 and all that, because VS Code will actually predict it for me. So this is actually my absolutely best browser. So going back to check what I have, I would say yes. So it actually moved. It's actually telling me the column, how do I want the column to stand, like how long do I want it to be. I'm telling it, give me a two, take two columns from what I have. But if I should do this, note what will happen. If I call that code span 2, then I call this TD again. Note what will happen. Even though I added that code span 2, see what will happen. It's just saying force it, and this one is actually saying I'm having 4, so automatically it's giving me 2 already. But you see the difference between code span 2 and row span. Code span and row span, you see a big difference in it. They don't work the same way you would actually think they should, but they actually have things to be done like alike, but they're different things. You know how row is and you know how column is, so you should know that they're different. So let's go to the next one. What do we have next to actually do? We have this. Then what if you can guess what did they use there, actually, I believe you would all actually know it. If you're following, you know that that's actually, let me remove this. That's a th. So, like I said, I want a table row again, since that's a row. Then I'll call my th, but I want it to be in the middle. So I call this, yeah, I'm calling our coordinator. Okay. So if I call this and I decide to save, it's taking one, but it's in the center, but I want it to actually take 2 columns. So what will I do? Yeah, you actually guessed right. I'm very sure that I have very lot of people actually watching this. So I'll call this span 2 again. Then if I should save this, I would actually say it has taken the 2 space I actually want. So I have 1 space left. So let me just call my 1 space and save. So I can, my 1 space is actually a TD. So I can use a TD and what is it called? TL, depending on what I actually need to achieve with it. So it's not as if when you're using your TH, you can use a TD, but it depends on what you actually need to do with it. So I call my TD and I call this column D. It's going to take up the space. And yes, I'm actually getting there. I'm having what I have here. But now let's do this beautiful one. This is row, but let's see how this row works. Row is actually say, I want to take the next 2 space, like this next 2 box, I want to take it up. But how will that work? The only way that would actually work is when I come here, oh, my code is not actually looking neat. So I actually like everybody that's actually coded to download code formatter prettifier. But I think, okay, HTML actually formats itself. But when you get to a point, you might probably need prettifier, so you can actually download that extension. But for now, HTML, VS Code actually takes care of that for you. Once you just come here, right click, then come format code or Shift Alt F for those using Windows. So you'll be able to get that. So you now see my code now looks neater than the way it was before. I can see everything line, I can see the beginning and where this is ending and all that. So let's just continue with our tutorial. So I'll have my next TR. So my next TR, I want a row span. So let me just call my TD first. Oh no, let me call TH because I want it to be bold and I want it to be very visible. So I can just say new. Yeah, she took us in our last class, so I should actually acknowledge that because she did a very wonderful class for us. So we have this new, so it's actually row span. So I want it to be row span. Then let me give it 2 because I'll just want, don't mind me, I'm using 2. You can actually use multiple number depending on what you actually want. But what I want is actually 2. So if I should go back to see it, I would say it's still like this. It's not taking it 2 yet. Why? I'll show you why shortly. So I'll call this. Then let me call the next one because I still have a space there. So I'll call TD. Then I can put, I think name has run out of my head. Well, let's leave that. So TD, then let me see what is it giving me. Okay, I still have 1 more space left. That's another TD because I've actually been using tier like 3 in all of them. My tiers are having 3. Aside this one is having cold span 2. Row span and cold span are not the same thing. With the way it actually applies, like the way it sounds, and roll and column. Roll, then column span. Then the other one is row span. So let me just call TD and call here again. Let me save it. If I check this out, it's still the same way. But now, when I say I want something to take up 2 rows, the only way this will actually take 2 rows is, let me call this, let me just copy this. I will remove something from it now. Let me copy this and paste, but let me remove this row span. You won't, if I should do this, I don't want to just trace out the copy. So if I do this, see what happens. Because I've called row span, row span is going to tell me that, okay, anything that is coming down, that's coming next to it, just take it that I'm taking that space. So you already take up the two spaces already. So if I should add three tags to it, it's going to say, oh no, Neo is not here. Is actually going to fall out today. So 1, 2, 3, because this exactly say I'm repeating myself twice. So it has repeated itself twice, and now the next one I just have to move. So when you're actually doing something like that, what you should actually do is you know that okay, this has actually taken two space already, then this won't exist again. So because this won't exist again, this will just be two. So if I should check my code now, I'll see that oh wow, it's not perfect. It's perfect to what I want. So I've not made mention of the footer. Well, you will not see any difference if I call the table foot. So let me just call the table foot here and just add numbers to it. So I can just say T foot. VS Code is actually absolutely nice and to predict anything and everything you want. So if I call T foot, then I say T, don't let me use TH, let me go TR first. I'll call my TR first as usual. Hierarchy. You have your table, you have your TR. If you are not using your T foot or TL or T body, you have your TR next. Then you can have the other tags inside, which is actually the TH, TDT, the TD or TH. You should actually have one TR can have multiple TDs or TH depending on what you are trying to achieve. But you shouldn't have a TR inside a TR. It's absolutely wrong to have a TR inside it. So just tell yourself, yeah, you want a row inside a row. So you don't need that. So you shouldn't do that. So T food, let me just call my TD because I want to use. Let me just post this thing. I'm just saying numbers actually. So I'm giving them numbers. So I can say the next TD, then I say 21. Then I call up the next TD. Then I say 40. Then I control save it. Going to this, I would say this. So absolutely. Okay, this is it. Yes. So now I've gotten what I want, and I can see that we have been able to achieve this like very fast. So that's just the basics of table of tables. Then the next one in our what we have in our agenda next is our slide. Our next agenda is introduction to HTML form tags. Okay, so the next class that we said we'll be discussing about is introduction to introductions to HTML forms. HTML forms are one of the main points of interaction between a user and a website or applications. Forms allow users to enter data, which is generally sent to web server for processing and storage. What that simply means is the way we actually interact, like to send things to the backend, maybe you want to collect data from a user, for example, a login form, a sign up form, is the major purpose is actually to collect your data and save it to a database. So the building of that form is what we are going to go into today. Then just as we have the table, as previously told that we have table, there is one super important thing just as we have table. The table is actually housing other elements. That's how we actually have also these forms. So let's just take forms as form defines an HTML form for user input. This is actually the model for all input that you want. So this is where the big deal actually occurs. So you have the form, then you have input. Input defines an input control. What that means is that is actually the box where you actually input, like write what you need to send out. Yes, me saying this theoretical aspect, you will surely not understand this, and maybe those that have actually seen what it means will actually understand it better also. But what I said I want to go into more practical of it than being theoretical alone, because I believe with practical you understand better. But let me just give you the basis of what we'll be going through in this input of forms and what we'll be touching. We'll be touching form, we'll be touching input, we'll be touching test area, we'll be touching a label. We won't be touching this field set, legend. We'll be touching select, we'll be touching option group, we won't be touching option, we'll be touching button, then we'll be touching data list. And why we won't be touching output too? Why won't be touching all these? Basically, there are things that you don't need for now. As a beginner, you don't need them. And if at all you need them, I'm not very sure. I'm not, it's very, very sure. I'm very sure that you don't actually need them like now, unless probably you have something you are specializing on that you need for them for. But I can actually assure you, you can actually do without them. For example, the field set defines the caption of feed set. The legend defines the caption for a feed set element. Then feed set groups related elements in form. Well, I can actually go into them, but I think maybe in our next class it may be touched and may not, but it's something I just tell you that you don't need them for now. Believe me. I personally have not used few sets before. I don't use them because there are other things that you can actually use to replace them, and they're not things that you really, really should actually put in your mind for now as a beginner. So let me go into forms. So I will just come back to my code editor. Then I will let me create another one. I'll call it and name it form. Forms does HTML. I have this. Like I said, VS Code actually assists you by just pressing Shift 1, which will actually bring out this I, not this one. This one will just be this. But when you do the normal Shift I, just press Enter. You would have everything you need. Your title, you can actually put in your title and name it form. Save it. That can actually change the title of the page. You should have I've actually seen this before. Open live server to actually see what you're actually prevailing. So you have this, nothing, but you have the forms as a title. Then now let's go back to our code and now start. As I said, the way we have table as the first element, we also have forms as the parent container of what you need. In forms, it has action. And the purpose of this action, you would see it before the end of this course. Because action, look, let me just say it, action is actually what the form is to perform next after submission. After user clicks submit, what should it do next? Am I submitting data or am I navigating to another page? Action is something that will actually take care of that for you. If you overall it said the URL of a program that processes the form information, the value can be overridden by a form action attribute on a button or input element. But majorly what action actually does is actually telling you that what am I doing with the information? Am I to open another page or am I sending the information out? But you'll see that before the end of this course. So my first one, since I said this is what we'll be building, this is what we'll be building for this form class. So you're building a first name, last name, email, and all this. But first, let me show you how this looks like. I'm having an input. If I had an input, just put, as I said, let me go back so that you see what I type. Input, before I even type it finish, I can come here. VS Code is very awesome, and I press my enter, it gives me this. But if I can put the full input and press my enter, yes, same thing. Yeah, you have this. So VS Code is awesome that you don't need to like stress yourself saying you are trying to like put everything on your head. Just know what you want, know the beginning. Also, YouTube is your friend, so always try to visit YouTube as often as possible. Whenever you need something as a beginner, your first thing to do is try, but not try to the extent that you know that it will take like a couple of hours on it. Try to use your resources. The difference between a what is it called? A junior developer and a senior developer, it's smart work. It's not really the hard work. Senior developer don't do hard works again. What they do now is smart work. And when I mean smart work, is know what you want and know how to get it. Know what you want, know how to get it. When you know how to get it, it stocks in your head. You already know the code you need for this. It's not by trying to say you want to learn everything. Yes, you need to know everything, but you don't need to learn everything. When I say you don't need to learn everything, is you don't need to put everything and cram everything in your head. What you just need to know is, what do I need to perform this? What is the name of this code? How can I look up to my Google to search for what I need? So that being said, let's continue our tutorial. If I save this and I check what I have, I will see that now I would have a box where I can type things, telling me this is an input already. Clicking submit, clicking my enter is actually telling me question mark, meaning what am I submitting? That's the action of the action. That's the function of the action in our form. So let me do that again. I press enter. You see the question mark. That what am I submitting? But it does not have any label for it. So let me show you the function of label. There's something they call label. Label. This is example of a label. This is a label. Okay, let me give an instance. When you're buying something, there's actually a label in it. They can actually give you that thing, but the function of a label is to tell you that this is what I want. This is it. This is what I'm talking about. So label, let's just take label as you're actually naming something. You are actually trying to put something that, okay, I'm giving a name to something. That's a label, just the way label is. So you are giving a name to something. So let me call my label. Calling my label, I can just say LA. VS Code is also, like I said. So it's telling me what is the label for. I'm putting it that it's for F name, which means first name. Automatically, coding is actually English language. And what you just need to know is, well, actually, everything just been abbreviated. So label, sorry about that. Okay, so I say first name, then I save, then I check it out, and I'll see that, oh wow, first name is actually there. Let me do something again. I have my first name, then yeah, it's actually saying I have the type text. Let me show you one thing that you should know about input. You can have input is actually something that just says I'm collecting something from a user. Is the major, what is it called, user, like when you get feedback from user. This is a major thing that you need to like know for HTML. Yeah, you actually get where select is and all that, but for anything you have to type in or select or touch something, input is actually perfect. So let me just cancel this for now and show you one thing you need to like know. Why I said you don't need to put everything in your head. You have input for various things. So let me just type in my input. I would actually see them. I have input for button, which actually said this is a button, btn. I have input for button, which is in full. I have input for checkbox. I have input for color. I have input for date. I have input for date and time. I have input for date, time, local. I have input for email. I have input for file. I have input for hidden. I have input for image. I have input for month. I have input for number. I have input for password. I have input for radio. I have a lot of inputs. But where you should, this is it. I have a lot of it. When I put IN, I have a lot of input that I can actually use. So you don't need to like put everything on your head, but just know what you're looking for. And also, when you need to check something, check here. You actually just type IN, it will bring out the other suggestions for you, or INP2. But at some point, you might actually see that this suggestion would not work. Probably maybe the VS Code is actually malfunctioning or something is actually occurring. You just see the suggestion. So that's when it comes to play where you just have to put them on your head and just know that, okay, I've done something like this, so let me see how I can actually do it. But for now, don't be a lazy programmer that you don't want to type everything in full. It's actually also okay as a beginner to try to type it in full so that you would know what you're actually looking for. But for the course of this tutorial, I'll use my VS Code prediction. So I'm saying input, and the default is actually text. So which is actually saying what I'm accepting is text. But now for this F name, I would actually say name. What's the name of this input? I'm actually giving it is for F name. Then also the input actually gets an ID for the four. So ID what? F name. So let me do something. Once I save this, let me show you the function of that action very well. So I'll still show you again. It has already told me that our first name, because my system has actually saved a lot of first name that I've used for different forms things. So it's actually bringing predictions for me. So let me just put in silver codes. Then I press enter. See this. Wow, awesome. So I'm having F name silver code. That means telling me that saving first name and silver code. What's actually taking the action for this? Let's see this. What's actually holding it? If I remove this and I save, I want you to actually see what's happening. And I have this. So let me remove this and refresh, then put in Zuri, and I press my enter. It's not going. That means it's telling me that this name that is included is what is holding the first name, is holding what I'm imputing, what I'm sending back to my backend and saying, Okay, at the end of this form, this name, the name of the form is first name. So what the user is sending back to me, it should be first name. So when I said submit, yeah, it's back. So now let's move to the other ones and see what we have. Oh, I removed my L, sorry. So I got an error. Okay. So this is one. So let me see another one. I have the input also again for text, which is actually saying name, last name, ID, which is not really important for now. So let me just remove that and see. So just give me a box. It's just going to give me a box. Just going to give me a box. So let me just do this. And now press my enter. Nothing is happening. You know why? Because this is actually telling me I'm pressing enter, but nothing is going to happen because I does not know what is submitting. So enter is not like enter is basically for one input, but now that's when the submit button comes into play. But now I will add the submit button in due time. But let's see the remaining forms that we have in order for us to get this. So we have last name. So that means I need to add a label. So in this, I will add a label. So I'll add the label. Then I'll say for else last name. Just use that. For last name, sorry. Last name. Then I come here, then I say last name. Then I press my Ctrl X. It's going to be on a straight line, which is not what I want. I want it to actually fall like line by line where I actually have done this one. So what should I do? That's where I actually have to bring in my Dave. Dave is actually saying, this is a box, and a Dave takes in full width. So one Dave takes in the full width, the next Dave takes in a full width, unless I use my styling to actually segment it. So let me just use that. Let me add my Dave to it and say, I want this thing to fall on here. It's one same line. I just call my Dave. Then I have this. Then I bring in this, my first one. And I copy, then I cut, Ctrl X to cut. Then I have this. Then I paste it here. Then I Ctrl X it. If I go back to check how I'll have it now, yes, it's now on different lines. But one thing I wanted to actually see now is that if I should add on that one, this is now telling me this is a day, but it's taking a full width, while this one is not yet taking a full width. Other things that still going to, if I add anything, it's still going to come in line with it. But now I'm taking this, just take Dave as a parent. Now the children in it is what is inside the Dave. So Dave is just how you are actually telling Dave to actually wrap all these elements and put them in me. Like I'm the container. So anything you want to add, just put them inside. So that's the function of a Dave. Just take Dave as a container. You don't actually take Dave. You can't. Dave is not something that you actually put. Yes, if we do this, if I call Dave and I call name inside it, it will work. But I can actually tell you that that is not best practice. See, working silver, but you don't use Dave as an H tag. You don't use Dave as a P tag. Dave function is to be used as a container. You don't use Dave outside being a container. So let me just copy this and Control X and Control V to it. So I put this here. Then I Control save it. Then I check what I have. Yeah, it's going to be what I have before. Yeah, exactly. So now what I want to do, I want to actually add an email. So what should be the type? I know you would actually guess right because you are brilliant. So I would say, let me have another div and say my label for email. Then what should be here? Email. Yeah, then my input now, what will it be? I already have a suggestion here that I'm using an email. So the type will be email. What is the name? The name will still be email. I don't need my ID for now, so it's fine. But I can still add it. But let me just leave it. I don't need it for now. So I have this. as my email. So this is going to be very awesome. So I've set it out. Okay, this is that email. As you can see, my suggestion is already telling me, because of the type, it's telling me this is an email field already. But before we actually finish, you would see and you actually get to know. Okay, let me just write this and press my enter. Yeah, you will not see anything now, but when I get to my validation aspect of just adding just few things, and you see that okay, it's actually going to take an email field. So with this, let me go to the next one, which I'm going to have, which is my phone number. So this is just going to take a number field. So let me have another div and say label for PIN number. Then I say phone number. Then my input will now be, yes, I can actually call it tel. That's TL, which is telephone. But I'm going to have a lot of issues calling it tel because I don't know. Maybe people might want to put dash or whatsoever the way they start. So I always prefer it to be called number. But the best practice is actually for you to say it is a tel. But you can't say, you don't know. So just change the inside one to number. Like I said, programming is just English language. P number. Then I control exit. Then I check. It's already telling me I'm accepting the number field. As you can see, I'm pressing 1, 2, 3, and it's moving up and it's telling me this is a number field. So what is accepting is actually a number field. With that being said, let's see the next one, which is actually this. This is done with a select option. So how can I do this? Let's get into that. Let's see how we can actually do this. Okay, so we have that. So we have that, what is it called? Choose a car thing. So what I will just do is I have some of the code I've written before for this. But okay, let's do this. Let me create another file. I don't want to copy something there. For time's sake, and also for it not to be boring. I think I changed my mind. Let's just write it. Let's do it together. So we have the div. Then we have the select label first. Okay, for the label, we have the label for what's it called? Car. Let's just call it car. Then we come here, we call it car. Choose your car. Okay, choose your car. Choose your car. Don't mind my spelling, leave that alone, please. So we have choose your car. Then I would have a select button. Select name car ID car. But what I just want to be inside is options. So if I say options, what do I mean? Let me just put options. Yeah. So what value? Let me put the first one to be Volvo. Then I call this to Volvo. So option is actually saying what are the options. Now I want it to be a selector field. Car, what are the options I want it to actually be? So what are my options? The first option I actually put is Volvo. I'll just paste in the other ones here. So we have the other ones value this. We have options we have for these two. So let me save this and see what we're actually going to have. Because now I can say select is actually, I'm on to select an option. But now select, I've put it there, then option this. So when I go back and I check what I have, I should actually see something. Yeah, now I have what was done in this part. So you can see That's how this is being done. Where I can actually select an option. Maybe they say, what's the gender? And they say, put a male or female. This is actually the way you can actually do that. You can put in the option field. I'm using a selection mode that has the parents consider to be selected. Your options will be inside the select. You don't ever do a practice where you will put your select outside your options. So the next one we'll be working on for this is I have a bike, I have a car, I have a boat. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I have this. So let me just do the next one, which is that. So let's put that. Let's create another Dave in this. Dave and call it the label first. The label is I have a car, right? For I have a car. I think the first one is bike. So let's just leave that. I have a car. Then we have the checkbox to be input. That is the checkbox. Things like that is actually called checkbox. Checkbox. That's what that box is. There's a difference between checkbox and a radio button. I will show you what a radio button is and what a checkbox is. They look alike. You actually think that you can actually use them alike, but no, they have different functions, and I'll show you the different functions in them. So if I say name, let me just call it car, my ID, car. Let me change this to car. I don't know if that's like made a mistake here. So let me just change this to car. Remember, my phone and my ID has to be the same. So let me see what I have. I know. Then I have this. I have a car, but my checkbox is here. I want it to be here. So what I will just do for this case is just pick this, Control Exit, paste here. Yeah. So for the rest, I can just pick this again down same line. I can pick this, paste, again, pick, paste. But they would all be on one same line. One thing I need to do on one same line. I want to, there's one way you can actually make all this instead of me putting Dave, 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 Dave. There's a way I can actually break all these text. And that's the tag that comes up with the BR. That's what they call a BR tag. So at the end of my label, I can actually say BR. It's actually, it does not have any function like you have to write something inside. We thought about this. This is an empty tag. You don't have to write anything inside. So just call it. So I call my BR here. Then I also have a break here. Oh, sorry, I have a break here. Then I can call my BR again here. Then I can come and I will check. But let me show you one thing. I can tick, I can tick, I can tick. And I can also untick, untick, untick. But on radio, you can't do that. So what I'm just going to do here is, yeah, you should actually change the what is it called? The names and all that is inside. It should not be the same. But because I'm using bike and it should be bike, maybe whatever this is, they should be different. Because if I'm submitting this, is going to give me one same thing. So when you're actually doing options like this, don't put same name so that your submission will know that okay, I'm submitting bike. Maybe this can be bike. And you have here to be bike. And you can say bolt. Then you have here to be bolt. So if I'm submitting to actually give me that, okay, this is what I want. So this being done, let's check for our next thing. We have this. Yeah, write something about yourself. Oh, one difference about this is see all the remaining input field. This is actually different. It's telling me write something about yourself. Inside, this is what they call placeholder. This thing inside is actually a placeholder. You can actually use a placeholder in the absence or replacement for a label. If in case you don't want to use a label, you can actually use a placeholder. There are several examples about this where you will see that Instead of for them to use a label or use a placeholder where you say they will ask for the details, it's still the same thing. It works the same way. So there's no difference about it. Let me show you. If I come here and I say my Dave, then I say input, then I call it text, then I suggest my placeholder, place. Yeah, like I said, VS Code is actually awesome. It predicts everything for me. So placeholder, I can actually say, write my name. Then I save it. Yeah, I have this already. Write my name. So when I type in, it clears off, but it's still always there. Wow, that's very, very awesome. So the next one I'm going to be having is my radio button. So I'm going to be having my radio button as my next one. Okay, so let's do this radio button. Let me show you one thing about radio button is if I click on this one deselect, click on this one deselect. So I can't select multiple radio buttons. But normally I can actually select multiple. But the way it was styled here, the main purpose of radio button is you can deselect. So if you need something that you need to select one that you don't want them to deselect, but you want it to be a radio button, let me show you how to actually do that and do that faster. So you have this. Then let me create another Dave. Let me put Dave. Then I say label, like I said, language, but I'm actually selecting my favorite language. My favorite language is actually CSS. I like CSS so much. So let me say, what's your favorite language? Yeah, my favorite language is CSS. So I probably have to put that first. So what I'll just do is my text, sorry, input, and what is it? It is called radio. So let me just input, then semicolon, then I say radio, it's going suggestion for me. Then I say, what's the name? Yeah, one thing you should know about if you want to do something like this, I'll show you two things. So if I say label, let me call on that label. Let me do under that thing. Yeah. Yeah, so you should always have this. That okay, for your radio, let me first of all add my labels to them. So the first label I should have here is label, sorry, label for CSS. Well, CSS is my favorite. So CSS. Then my next label should be HTML, HTML, HTML. Then the next one should be JavaScript. Yeah, you learn all these too in this tutorial. So as a full stack developer or even a front-end developer, you learn all this, and I would assure you that in 3 months time you actually be very good at building your first site using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, actually with React is the combination of all this, but when you get there you actually get that better. So let me do this. So this, let me save this and show you what we have. Yeah, they're going to be on a straight line. Absolutely going to be on a straight line. This is not what we want. But see this, I can toggle everything. Why? But I can't return, I can't untoggle. But now, what is the cost of this? Like I said, a name actually has a very important thing. It's a very important, what is it called, for input. It's very important for input. It takes up everything on input. So if I just change this name and put lang, and I Ctrl C, and I paste same, and I paste same. For radio button, if I should do this and I go back to my element and I say this is it. Now, if I do this, if I select the next one, it will change. Why? Because it's actually saying radio, you can only select one and you can't select multiple. You can't select multiple radios. You can just select just one. And that's why you have this. So because of the name I changed, everything is being changed. So you would actually get that. With name, with the radio button, it will not, if putting the name, you won't be able to select multiple and just one. So let me just clean up my code and try to make that place look better by adding a BR tag like break. Yes, there's another thing that you can actually use aside the BR, but that one is actually not something that I think I should cover. Is something what is it called? And NSB or something like that. But you browse and you're able to get it. So you have this, so now it's broken. I need this other one to be broken. So what's the cost? Oh, this placeholder label. Okay. So what I can just do for this one is just to add another BR to it. Then I have this. Oh wow, this is awesome for me. So I have this already, but this is actually not a label, so you can actually use a p tag for this. You can use a p for this. And using a p, you actually, you can now remove this. You don't need this. We're using a p. So this is it. You don't need a p. Paragraph automatically takes full width also, and it's also going to give you some margin and padding. So if you notice now there's more space in here, there's also more space in here. That's the function of p. P always has a padding in it and a margin in it. When you get to the CSS part of it, you will surely understand what I mean by margin and padding. But for now, it's very fine to understand that, so it's okay. So with this being said, I've been able to achieve to this part. Then we have upload a document, choose a file. What would that mean actually? Oh, choosing a file, document is actually like a file. So image is a file and all that. So I should actually be able to, like, in my head, know the kind of input I'll be using. So let me first open my div. Calling my div, then I put in my label as usual. Do I need a label for this? Let me see that it was the label where I upload a document, not undocument, sorry. Upload. Or you can just use doc or something. So upload a document. A document. Then in this I would just have my document. So my input will change. My input here will be file. Input, then my type will be file. So saving, if I come here, I would see, yeah, I've gotten that, upload a document. And if I click this, it told me I should upload the file. And if I should add all these and I see this, it's going to tell me I've uploaded the file. Wow, this is awesome. This is actually very great. So this is working. It's actually, even the over on it, you see, just to tell me what I actually uploaded, the full URL, and telling me that there's an image here. If I should inspect, well, if I should inspect, I would actually see it. Yes, you will learn how to actually debug. These are one of the key front-end things you should know, how to debug something. So if I come here and I try to inspect what I uploaded, why is this thing? This thing does not want to actually just select. But now file is a file. Why is the image always put? It's not showing for some reasons, but normally it's always showing, like if I upload an image, but it's not showing. So let's leave that for now. We don't need that. Like I said, we don't actually need it. So let me just cancel. And I have this. Then wow, we're almost done. We're almost there. So then next one I have here is, look at this. I can do this. This, I can't do this. I can't stretch it. This is actually not an input. It's different. But I can use an input to achieve this, but this is actually different. And wow, how should I do this? Okay, that's what they call text area. Text area, which actually is actually telling you that, let me add on that day, last day, probably. Then I call text area. Text area, I have a suggestion already. Oh, it's telling me column 10 rows and all this. Well, let me see what this brings out. But I don't think I need all these column 10 rows for now. So let's see. Oh wow, see, it gives me this. And it's telling me the rows and columns, what I can add, and you can see stretch it. It's giving me, yeah, that's the function of the text area. But for this tutorial, I don't need this. Columns and rows. You already know what columns and rows from the previous way, actually what said what table is and how table functions. But let's leave this for now. So let me just put it. Let me see if I add a placeholder here. Let's see what happens. Placeholder. Hello. You will see this. See placeholder is not showing. Why? Text editor doesn't accept placeholder. Yes, but the way you can actually put a placeholder for a text area is adding it inside after the, just like the way actually, oh sorry, yeah. So let me now see it. Wow, it added the text area. But one thing about the placeholder for this is it's actually telling me as if I'm continuing the text. But no, guess what? I can actually cancel everything. I can, and that's not saying what I have here has been deleted. It's not deleted. It's just telling me that it's a placeholder and I can cancel it. So that's one thing about input. Input, you can have a placeholder inside, but this text area you can't. You shouldn't. You just your input can be as outside. Aside, you plan on styling it. So if at all you want to style it, then that's actually very different. You can actually style it if you need to actually style. If you need to style it. So let me move on to the next one after the text area, which is my reset. Let me do my reset before I go to the submit. For the reset, let me do this. Let me add a div. Let me add a div. Then I can say in my div, let me say input, button. Then value can be type. Sorry, type is reset. Input type reset. Then now, if I save this and you see this, the function of value here, oh, this is it, sorry. You see, I can click it. What is happening? The function of value here tell me that what is the value for my button? Like, what is the value? What should it show? This is an input, and an input is a self-closing tag. So how can I put in? I don't want to use label. If I cannot use label, but I want it to show inside. That's when I use value. Since I can't type in outside, typing outside here will not give that box the label. But with the value, I can actually give it a label. So I can say, call this reset, call it any name actually, but if you can know that it's actually, sorry, you can actually do that as reset, that's very fine. So I called it reset. But take a look at it and I have it as reset. So the value has taken up the box. I say, okay, yeah, name this thing reset. And now let me show you the function of reset. I have all these. Clicking reset will clear up my field, will clear up my form. Since this is inside the form, it's saying everything I have here, I need to just clear it. I don't want it like clear the form. That's what you actually see as people say reset to default. You would have seen some form there they say clear form or reset to default. They're actually using a reset button. So that will actually just clear up all the field and make them back to the way they were before. So one other thing you can actually put, the last one that we have here is submit. Submit is actually to submit the form. So let's put a submit button. You have actually guessed it right. Yes, this will actually be submit. Input type submit. Yeah, it need a value also. So value submit like this. So this is it. Oh, value submit. Wow, great. Can you see? I clicked on submit. It actually takes you that. Yes, you say you want to submit. What do you want to submit? First name, the one I gave the name to. Last name, email, PIN number, car, which because this one is already Volvo, so that I already accepted it. But all these ones is not going to be submitted because there's no name for them. So when I click submit for them, car on. I have a car, is on. I have a bike. Let me do the three. You actually see it. I have a bike, I have a car, bike on. It's telling me that I've been checked. Let me do the CSS. Let me clear up this because I want to see that CSS. Then I click submit. Yeah, it brings on everything. I say language on. That's my CSS field. That means something is on there. This is it. Then upload the document. I don't have all that. So with this, I've been able to say, yes, these are one of the major fields you need. But if you need to just play around, what you can just do is come up here, try inputs, pick any one, color, just check them out at your leisure time. Inputs, date time, at your leisure time, just check them out and you will see what you have. So you have this, see color. See what color gave out to me. I can actually select the color. These are what they use when you go to an e-commerce website and they say, select your variant color and you see, oh, I can select my color and you're like, wow, this is it. They actually use like the input color. Then this is for date. It's telling you to actually input your date and all that. Date time. Let me just put it as date and let's see. There are a lot that you would actually see. So it's telling me this is my date. I can select my date. So input actually has a lot. Anything that you are seeing online that you can submit, input has absolutely everything. HTML. Let me just say HTML as we have been told. HTML is like the website itself. CSS actually just beautifies it. JavaScript just gives it more functionality. Without the HTML, you can't have a website. You can't just be putting color, 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 color. Even for each section, the colors, you need an HTML tag to section it. So with all this being said, I think we're just very close to finishing this class as we're going to move back to our next agenda, which we have the on our next agenda, we have implementation of HTML forms using tables. We've done implementation of HTML form tags. The next one, implementation of HTML forms using tables. Yes, you would have actually looked at it. How can this be possible? You can actually build a table using a form. And it's always very, 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 very cool when you do that, like using a form. Well, it's not best practice because you don't want to use your CSS. But for beginner, like, and you don't want to use your CSS, I just feel like I just want to use my table. People do it and it actually works too. So you can use a table to start a form if you want it to actually be on a straight line. And you don't have that time to actually use your CSS grid or a framework. And you don't want to use a library rather. You don't want to use a library and you just want to use something plain using just HTML and CSS. You should actually try out using tables to create your forms. So let me do that. Let's get into that. So just come here, create a form, then call it, let's just call it form tables dot html. Then as I said, shift one gives me this. So I can just call this forms. Okay, with this, let me save and say, now when you're actually using your form tables, now the form is actually what you're trying to build is forms. When you're trying to put in your forms in the table, so the first element that will come, that point, the first tag that you call out is forms. Forms is even higher than tables in hierarchy when you're trying to create something. When you're trying to create a form in a table. So you should call form first. Then now you can now call your table. Let me show you what we are even trying to build with this. So what we're trying to achieve with this is this. If you can notice, even though the space here, this is actually stay on a straight line. Just do you have your segmented table. We have this that is actually, no matter how, it's actually still trying to maintain a straight line telling you it is a column that this you have, this is just taking this space and this is taking this space. So what we want to build is, let's just see how we can actually just build this short one, then before we move to our form validation. If you can get this, you've actually absolutely gotten how to use your forms very well and also creating a table. So let's do this. So you have our tables. I don't want to use our T head, T body, and T footer, because I said the major time you actually need that is when you need to make your head like same header for everything, same footer for everything. Then your body will actually be changing if probably pagination period and all that. So let's do this. So we have our TR, which is next the hierarchy, which is always the parent to TH or TD. Then I can now say, yes, I have my TR, then I have my TD. Yes, you should not just say, okay, since you have your TR, then your next thing should be labels. No, your label can be inside your TD or your TR. But because I'm creating a table and I don't want it to be, I don't want the form to actually be in central and to be thick, bold. So I want them to be left aligned, not center, and I don't want them to be bold. So I would actually recommend you using TD to write this. So with TD, I would say my first thing is, let me come back to my previous code and say, let me pick what I have here, is my label. I have my label. I paste this here, TD. Then I come back to the next one, is my input. So I pick this, Ctrl C, then I paste it here. Sorry, my TD first. Then I paste it here. Then I save. Let me open my live server to see what I have. Oh, great. I have this. So let me try to create my next one, which is the name. So let me just copy this. No, don't let me copy this. Let me just put my next TR, take another row. Then I say, let me copy these two. I would have to copy it one by one back. OZ. Okay. Then I paste this TD. Then I paste this. Then I copy this out. I put it on under TD because I want it to be on a separate. I should not put them together. Aside, I want them to be on a straight line, but no, I don't want them to be on a straight line, like one same place. But I want them to be on different rows. Let's take different columns. So let me save this and see what I have. Oh wow, awesome! I still have 17. But let me show you one difference that you should actually know that, okay, the tables, I know that is working because I know they look alike. So let me use a longer field and call something. Let me use the phone number field. Let's say TR again, TD. Then let's call the phone number field. What's the phone number field? We have this. Phone number is actually longer, so I should know that I should have more space. TD. Then I call this. Then my inputs. Then I have this. TD again. Table data actually. That's the full meaning of TD, in case you've forgotten. So let me check what I have. And oh, what's this? Sorry, let's see. Something is wrong in our code. What's that? Oh, yeah, we have TD. It's actually saying inside my TD, there's another TD. So you have to remove this. This is the errors you get where you actually try to put a TD inside a TD. It's going to nest it. So it's actually telling me this is a nested TD. As I can see it like this. It's telling me it's a nested TD. So, but I'm not making it a nested TD. It's just one single TD I want. So I'm removing this. This is not needed. So I save it. Then now I have what I want. So even though there is space, but because one is longer, it's actually saying push it. Just push it to the front, and I just need my thing to be in the full row. Let it be complete. Then any other thing can come after it. Do that to other ones too. So no matter how long I put this one, phone number is a phone is a number, whatsoever I write in it and I save it, it's still going to push it. It's not ever going to say, okay, this one should come here, this one should come close to this. No, it's going to take the last line for the longest alphabet or number, whatever, for the longest TD, then it's going to take up the next one, and others are going to follow that same pattern for that. So I think with even this self, we've been able to cover what I said we wanted to cover, which is very, which is this. So is which you should actually understand this already, that how you can actually use your TD to actually create a form, just put them on the same alignment. So this should be well understood already. So on our next agenda, we have the basic HTML form validation, which is actually the real deal, which is something you just need to know. And because you knowing HTML form validation, you can actually create a login page, a sign up page, even your next tax assignment, you'll be able to create it using the HTML form validation. And HTML form validation is actually the big deal one, something that very, very great for you to know. Because even when I give you a little text, some companies for an interview, you'd actually see them actually even say, okay, build a login form and all that. Because that's actually the basics of it. This. So we are trying to teach you everything in basics. And also, this is real time that I will say, welcome to HTML fully, because now you're going to go deeper into what you have been taught, where you have to put the few things you have been taught into practice, and also saying, validating your form, going deep to know more things, and just pay more attention to this, because this is actually when your journey really begins, and you will actually understand it if you put your mind to it. So calm yourself down and let's get into this HTML form validation. Yeah. Yeah, so let's go into the basic HTML validation, HTML form validation. But what I want us to actually build is, I want us to build a simple sign up form, a validated sign up form. So a sign up form would have a login, a first name, last name, um, email, phone number, phone number, what again? Let's put date of birth. Um, what again can we have? Password. Let's put all this. Let's just do this, then a submit button. If you can get all this, I believe you should actually know the basics. So I try to put number, text, and also pattern. That's the basic of it. So that's what I want us to actually do. So if you can know this, you would actually know what we actually need. So let me just bring this out. Ctrl X. Oh, sorry. Just for us to look up to it. Don't do this. I'm just trying to only just comment out my code to show you what I need, what I'll be doing. Okay, so let's get to it. So let's do the first one, which is the first name. So let me use a table. So let's look cleaner, like very clean. Then let me do my TR table row, like I previously taught to you guys. So table row, then TD, then I have my label for F name, which is first name. Then now in my input text name, F name. Now what I want people to actually know in this is, okay, sorry, before I do this, I need to put it in my TD, but I'm using a table. So all TDs to be that different element. So One thing I need you to know, the first validation you should actually know when you're validating something is something called required. Or let's do it this way. The best way is actually let's build this first, then we'll validate the form once we are done. So we have this already. Then let's do our next TR. I'll validate everything once we are done building. So we have your TD, then you say your label for L name, which is your last name. Then you have your TD. Then you have your input text. Then you call this name L name. Then the next thing that you do is what? Let me say email. So you have your TR again. Then you do your TD label, which is for email. Then I have my TD again. Then I have my input. Then I say text. No, input. This one should be email. Name. Email. Then the next one I have is phone number. Then I have my TR again. Then I have my TD. Then now I would have my label to be P number. It can be anything actually. Your label before and all that. So P number. Then I have my phone number. But actually, when you're naming something in HTML, we'll try to use a meaningful name so that anybody read your code will understand what you're doing and they will know you know what you're doing. So TD, then input. Now let me use number for this. Then let me say P number. Then last under TR, which is going to be for date of birth, TR. So TD label for DOB, which is date of birth. CD. Then I have my input. Oh, I wrote input. Oh, caps is on, sorry. Then I call this date because that's what I need. So I call this DOB. Okay. With this, I've done my date of birth. Then next one is password. So TR. Then I say my TD. Then I say label for PSW, short form for password. Password. CD. Then I say my input. Then I call this password. Like I said, programming is basically English language. If you can understand English, sure. Really just understand English. What you just need to know is what's the name of this, what's the name of this, and very simple, you get what you need, PSW. So it's not difficult if you can actually just know what you want. And also, as I said, the difference between a senior programmer and a junior developer is smart work. So next one, let me just use, or I don't need a PDF, I don't need a TR for this submit button. So let me just input, submit value. Oh, sorry. Value submit. So let me save this, open with live server, and see what I have. Oh wow, I have all this already. Oh, this is actually up. I need it to be down. So let me add the TR to it. The TR is actually taking, means it has to be up. So I will do this. Today, I format my documents because I've spot that. So I format my documents. Okay, it looks more beautiful now. Okay, cool. I have all this, but they're not validated yet. If I click submit, something is trying to submit itself. But now let's validate it. The first validation you can actually use when I'm validating something is required, if you need it to be required. So just use the word required. So users would actually know that, okay, this is required. So if I come back to my form and I say submit, it's telling me, please fill out this field, meaning it is required of me to fill it out. That I say, okay, I need to fill it out. So let me just copy all this and place here for the other ones because we'll be needing them. Then I'll try filling them also. So I will know phone number, they'll be okay. Password, yeah, password that is required. You don't tell your submit button to be required, because if you click your submit button to be required, it does nothing. So if I had a required button here, so it doesn't make any sense for me to add a required button here. So it's trying, you're just trying to tell me today I need to click, so it does not do anything. So you don't need to add a required to your button. So let me just save this and say I come back here. Then I say, okay, let me put in my first name since they said it is required. Oh, sorry. Oh, let me just refresh so that all this will also clear off. Okay. Then I come here and I say Zuri. Yeah. And I click submit. It's telling me the next one has to be there. So I put internship. When I click submit, oh, the next field has to be there too. So let me just put Toby here. What will happen? Oh, it's telling me, why is this suggestion just there? Let me click submit. Oh, it's telling me, please include an at in the email address. Toby is missing an at. Let me add an at and say, let me click submit. Oh, it's telling me to be, please enter a part following at. Oh, wow, that means I need to put something. So Gmail, let me just try to click submit. Oh, that means this can actually be a Gmail to read. So, but this is a Gmail to read. Some Gmails are like that. I don't know why. I don't think I've seen a Gmail like this. But it's actually taking the type that, okay, because of the type you put as an email, this is what it requires of it. So the phone number aspect of it. So if I click this, it's not working. Requires, I need just to add a phone number to it. Add a number, and I click submit. So wow, it's gone. So I need to put a date of birth. So even though I put 12 here, please enter a valid date. This field is incomplete or has an invalid date. Oh, so I need to add something like this. Let me click submit. Oh, password. I need to put a password. This is a password, right? So I don't think password should show since I put the type password. So let me just do this. Oh, I can't see what I'm typing on password. That's because of the type we're using. It's called password. So the type is password. Type is password. So let me now, with all this being said, I want to actually start to now put this. Okay, I don't want a user to put a minimum of. I want a user to put a minimum of 3 letters, then the maximum of 5 or whatsoever. So let me just add that to my code. That's why I have max width and max length. So if I add max length, oh sorry, max length, which says what if the maximum length this thing should actually be. So it's a number field I'm going to put, which is actually an integer. So I want it to be 12. The minimum of what should I use that input? Minimum length, which can be 3. So if I go to my code now and I say with this and I say AEAD, then I click submit. It told me, please lengthen this text to 3 or more. You're currently using 2 characters. Wow. So I need to like input, or let me just input more than 12. It can't, it won't go because I've used that max length stuff. Because once it gets to 12, it stops typing. You can't type anything, just like a restriction to it. So when I click submit, it goes to the next one. So let me now do another one. So I've done that for max. So same thing for this. Let me just do the same thing for this. So you should know that it's going to take same value for that. So which is not going to be an issue. So it's remaining this, which is the email. So I just need to input an email. Then I input an email. Yeah, with that being said, let's validate the phone number. But for this, I want to actually pick a pattern for this phone number, which is pattern. You don't need to actually cram this on your head, and I don't think I actually going to cram it on my head, but I'll explain what this will actually do. So let me just copy this. Let me copy this, paste here. So this is actually saying I need a number from 0 to 9. Then I should actually have 3 of it, which simply means 0 to 9. I should pick 3 numbers in the 0 to 9. I can pick 1, 2, 3, acceptable. It should be 3. It means this square bracket is from 0 to 9. Let's say from number 0 to 9, I should pick 3 because of this square bracket. So which simply means if I come to this place, what it's trying to tell me to do is say 1, 2, 3, whatever number I want to add. 1, 2, 3, but it has to be 3. Then now, what's the next thing it's saying? It says I have a dash, so I should include a dash to it. After putting that, dash, I come here, I put a dash. Then I'm here, I put in this. Then now 0 to 9 again, but now this time around, it should be 2 numbers, which can be 1, 2, then a dash, then this. But let me save this and just let us do this first and see. If I have this, I want to use fake filler. Sorry, I'm filling this myself. This is a number. So let me submit a fake filler from them. Okay. The phone number set. Okay. Hotel. Okay. Yeah, I saw this. Tell. So phone number, you cannot use this pattern. It should be tell. This like this for phone number. Tell. So telephone, phone, tell. So you're gonna have this. So let me now input. Let me use my fake filler and just fill in something. Let me remove this. Let me just so that you will see the errors. Please fill out this form. Want to this match the requested format? Nothing. So it's telling me that this does not match the requested format that I need. So one way you can actually make a user know about what you're asking for is put a placeholder for this. This is what placeholder can actually do for you. Tell the user you are required to submit in this format, which is 3 of these, 2 numbers, and 3 of this, which can be any number, but 3 numbers, then 2 numbers, then that, then 3 numbers. So if I even just do this and I put this in, it's going to be very successful. If I should do 1, 2, 3, let me use my fake filler again. This extension is actually very good for forms. I don't need to input all my things and I just it's stress-free. So I also recommend look for fake filler for beginners actually. So I think you'd actually just fill it in. But if you have a lot of forms, you can actually use fake filler. It's actually an extension for Chrome. Just browse it out. Fake filler, that's the name. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 dash 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then let me submit and see. Oh wow, it went because it's actually now validated. So that's that. Let me validate my date of birth. For me to validate I've validated this. Let me validate my date of birth. So I can now say to validate my date of birth, I will put a max. That's a maximum. So maximum of what? Then I will now say 220 20 dash 01 dash 01. Then a minimum of 20, minimum of 2000 and 2010 dash 01 dash 01. So what does this mean? It's actually trying to tell me that, okay, yeah, even if I click on this to tell me that, oh, what I can actually select as the maximum is January 2020 on the 1st of January. That was on the 1st. Then the minimum I can actually select is what is it called, 2010. I can't go up again. So if I say, okay, let me just do strong again and let me just do this and put 2022 and put this, and I say, let me submit. To tell me I'm wrong, let me fill in all this. You just fill in all this with this. This to 123 dash dash. They told me value must be 2020 or earlier. That means it should not be greater. So which simply means I can't pass these dates. That's where the use case for this is, for example, you enter some website and they're like, oh, you have to be 18 for you access the site. This is how they do that, but when they say that put in your date of birth and they say, oh, sorry, you're not eligible to build the site or whatsoever. So you just need to like, right. So this is how they validate those things. So let me validate this password. Like I said, Google is actually your keychain, and I'm not telling you to actually put anything or everything on your head, but just know them and know how to search for them. So for password, what you need for password is this, just the pattern, and also the title if you need to actually put the title to it. So let me just copy this from my previous code. Oh, sorry. Control C, and I come here for my password, what I just need, and I'll explain it to you now. Password actually start, but it just start from the back. It's trying to tell me must contain at least one number, which is like from 0 to 8, capital letter, small letter, and this. So let me now try this. Let me save it and try this for myself and say, okay, my fake filler will work again. Let me want to dash this. Then let me remove my password and let me see what it's trying to tell me here. Let me click submit. Please fill out this form. Let me just put in ADE. It's telling me, please match the requested format. Must contain at least one uppercase and one lowercase, and at least 8 or more characters. But let me show you one simple act that probably the front end should just know. Well, it's okay, so you should know it. I'm not saying I just only this like let me just change this text. I want you guys to just see what I'm typing in of it inside of my password. So I have this a day. When you get to debugging this, they should actually teach you how to actually use the debugger to actually debug. So let me just impute. They said one capital, one lowercase. Let me just put in a day she. Then let me put 22. Now let me see what happens. Wow, it goes. That's because I have actually met all the requirements. I added the capital letter. Let me change this back from password to text. I'm only doing this on developer tool. Doing it on my other place would not make it work like this. But yes, it will. If I should, let me just change so you guys will see. So let me go through the developer tool again. Let me just change this side to text. And let me just show you guys. Let me close this out. I don't need to be changing it again. It's going to be text already. So let me just put my fake filler and say this to be 1, 2, 3. Let me just use this. Okay, so let me just if I cancel it and I click submit, tell me fill this out and I put ADE. Yeah, it's telling me it's not requested. Let me just put capital letter A, then let me put other things, then let me put an alphabet 2. Yeah, it's now 8. Let me cancel 1, submit, no, because there's no number. So let me just add a number to it. I submit. Oh wow, submitted. So that means it's actually working. Then our validation works. So you're in this tutorial, you're able to know about this. Can validate a password. You can validate a date of birth using your min and max. You can validate your phone number using pattern, if this kind of pattern you want. Also note, you can actually add a title to this, your validation, to make users actually understand what they want. You can just put something like this, copy this, Control C, then add title. Yeah, and add title, then say use this as an example for the format. Fake fill out, submit. Tell me, please use this as an example for the format. So it's telling me, oh, I not put the example actually. Just copy your, what's it called? Yeah, then paste it. So they will know that this is the format. So this is actually now fine, better. So I can actually assure that if you can watch this tutorial to the end, that means you'll be able to do all of this. The first, you should be able to have attended to introduction to tables and tags. You should know that. Introduction to HTML forms tags, implementation of HTML table tags, implementation of HTML form tags, implementation of HTML form using tables, then basic HTML form validation. You've actually been able to cover all this. Yes, there are other resources that you should actually look up to. You have the ones on W3 schools, you have the ones on other various places. So I would actually say you are good to go with all this. You can check, you can look up to W3 schools, you can look up to MDN, various materials, and actually check on how to do them. Thank you. Yeah. God bless you. I still remain Tiwa Codes is your mentor.